goth reviewer, and today I'm reviewing a juice that has its own story to tell. Normally I get juices, I put a story to them, and that's the end of it, they're reviewed. But today, this juice has a story all of its own, and I think it's an accidental story. So sit quietly and we'll begin. Now the name of the juice that I'm reviewing today is again by Fusion Haze, and that is Huckleberry. Huckleberry is the name of this juice. And in typical Victorian fashion, I have my prop to tell the story of this juice. Now, it came in a 30ml, and I nipped it up with my 3mg nicotine to make it. Came 25ml short fill. I nipped it up, it became a 30ml. And let's begin. So, Huckleberry came, and the first thing that struck me was its mephonic blue colour. It's magical blue colour. And when I opened it, the smell was so different. It's something else, completely crazy. Yes, excuse all my layers. It's completely crazy. Now, it's menthol. That's the first thing I can tell you. It's menthol, but let me vape. And it's floral. Now, on inhale, I get the cooling of the menthol, but then this is where it gets fucking interesting, and this is where it gets creepy. On the exhale, there is flowers. There's flowers. It's floral. It's refreshing. It's fruity, but it's floral. Now, there's a song, a children's nursery rhyme that goes around and around in my head, and that's what this juice reminds me of. Ring a rosies, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we're all fucking dead. And it reminds me of what I imagine the streets of London would have smelled like in the Victorian era. The posies to cover the stench of the streets, and the ice of the Thames, where the Thames is all frozen over. And I feel like I'm living in the Michael Faber book, The Crimson Peddler and the White, when I vape on this. Now, in the book, Sugar was a Victorian prostitute, and Michael was a perfume dealer, and he owned a perfume shop, and his wife was crazy, so he sought the asylum of Sugar, the prostitute. And again, the inhale is cold. The inhale is ice cold, and it shocks my mouth and it shocks my system. But then, running along behind it, behind that menthol, is the flower. The flowers. It's like a posy of Victorian flowers are dancing around behind my teeth and on the tip of my tongue. It's so pretty. The flavour looks and tastes and feels pre-Victorian. It feels pretty. It's the most sexual, sensual, floral scent. It's the most expensive tasting e-juice I have ever come across. It's refreshing, and it makes me greedy. It makes me feel like I'm on the streets of the Victorian era, and I can't get enough. I want more. Oh, they're both separate spirits. They're both separate entities, much like Michael Faber's wife and the prostitute. They're two different beings. The menthol stands alone on its own as the menthol, and then the floral tones and the floral notes stand alone on their own too. They both do two separate jobs together. They both dance around each other to come together on some prerequisite of a relationship. Now, let's show you my coils when I drip this beautiful juice. It wasn't remotely throaty. They missed a trick. I feel like Fusion Haze really missed a unique selling point with this, because it is literally shake and vape. It's not throaty, it's not harsh, it's smooth. It's so smooth, and it's just different. It's just different. It's not something I've ever come across, and I review juices. I do juices. That's the juices on me are just akin. But this is something else. And look at the colour of my coils. How beautiful are they? Are they? The colour, the blue colour. I like the blue of what I imagine the Thames in that Victorian era would have been. And it's just... on the inhale, it's literally... it's not Coolada. It's not cold, modern Coolada. It isn't that. If you can imagine a fisherman's friend or an extra strong polo, it's that kind of mint. It's a refreshing mint. It isn't Coolada. It doesn't taste like a Coolada would taste. And then as the vapour transcends into that floral tone, I forget the Coolada and I'm on to the next thing that this juice offers, and that is the floral, the fruity, the refreshing and the reminiscent. It's so reminiscent of sexy Victorian women and big ruffled skirts. It's reminiscent of the tilted hats of the Victorian gents. It's reminiscent of the Thames, the cold winters and the prostitutes. It's reminiscent of a story that it tells itself. And this is why I fucking love juices. And this is why I love juices that were created with a story. As they were created, the story was born. I don't need to put that story to it. It's already there. The story is already told for me. I'm translating the juice for you guys to understand it better. Unlike the fogs of the Victoriana rivers, the vape is milky and it's dense. I think it could be used by tricksters and somebody in a small vape with a small vape pen alike. It could do both things. It hangs and lingers in the room in a foggy ethereal mist, which is what I always look for because I love the theatrical. And this does vape as a theatrical vape. It just will fill the room and it will linger in the middle, which is absolutely beautiful. And again, reminiscent of the Victorian era, the streets would have been full of that fog. And that's another reason I wrote and tell this story, particularly with this juice. So just to recap for you, this is Fusion Haze and it's Huckleberry. It's absolutely amazing. It's magical. And again, it comes as a 25ml short fill. And I added half my Nick shot to make it up to 30ml. I shook and I literally shake and I vape. And as I said, it's cold and it's flavourful at the same time. I find cold sometimes with some fruity flavours, you either can taste one or the other. They don't sing well together, but in this particular juice they sing well beautifully. And it's ethereal, it's sexual, it's expensive tasting. It's like a fine champagne. It's just phenomenal. And I give this one entirely a 10 out of 10. And it's not something I award easily, but I do award this a 10 out of 10 because it's fabulous. And I just want to give a shout out. You'll see in the bottom of my video, on one side or the other, the Vape Hard or Go Om logo. And I want to shout out to Jack and that amazing crew as well, because obviously Fusion Haze are the sponsors of that amazing friendly group, and I just want to say thank you all for making it my home too. I'm sharing my review videos too. That means a lot to me. So from Bibsy Grimm, her Victoriana hat, and the amazing Huckleberry. Give it a try, it's phenomenal.